welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a weekly hop that I host here on my channel with my Scraplift Crafternoon tribe. There are now 11 of us, and if we're all participating, we'll be linked in that playlist that is in my description box below. You're going to get a lot of different takes on the same layout. This week we are scrap lifting Leilani Scraps. I hope I did not mispronounce her name, and if I did, I apologize. I'm going to post her beautiful layout up here in the corner, and I'm going to warn you, I'm going to kind of go rogue. I've got something else going on in my brain, and I'm just taking inspiration from her circles, and then we'll go from there. So what I am using this week is I am using the April 2025 Hip Kit Club kit. It is very pastel, and it has lots of fun embellishments in it. I've got these chipboard, they're calling them chipboard die cuts. There's a lot of circles in here. I've got the foam alpha set. There's a peach and the green. I've got my photos, and then I've got some die cuts, some ephemera from the ephemera pack. The ephemera pack is pretty good sized, has quite a bit of stuff on it in it. I only took this label out for journaling, the scalloped border, a sewing machine, a banner that says "That's so typical," a tab. I think that's it. Yep, there's a button sitting here too, but I'm not planning on using it. It didn't get put away. And I've already cut this piece of paper down, and I didn't mean to do that off camera, but I'm going to be using this piece of paper, and then I have this background sheet is what I'm going to use for the background. So I'm going to pause, we're going to get started, and let's get going. So my background paper really reminds me of my 12x12 craft mat from Close to My Heart. Of course, my Close to My Heart mat is black, not blue, but it looks like a craft mat, doesn't it? So I'm going to be using this cut file here that I cut with my Cameo. I am not going to be backing the cut file, and I wouldn't do that on camera anyway because it takes forever and it's awkward. And anyway, so I'm going to glue it straight down to my background on top of that quilted looking piece. And now I'm going to mat my photos with the back side of the quilted piece. And I'm not cutting them into circles, obviously, I'm just matting them. And the reason why I chose to do that is because my goal is to kind of let those chipboard pieces from this kit do most of the work, and I didn't want to cut into my photos. They would have been very small to go on here. I would have had to make my cut file even larger than it is. As it was, I increased the size of it by quite a bit, probably by double. It was a very small cut file when I opened it up. So now I'm going to open up all of these chipboards. I'm going to pull them little pieces out, setting aside what I know I'm not going to use. The goal is to use a lot of it up here, but also leaving space for my photos. My photos will overlap some of it, but it's not going to be, there's not going to be anything directly underneath it that needs to be seen, if that makes any sense. I'm going to use the chipboard to help pop up my photos in the way that I would normally use foam adhesive. So now I'm just kind of playing around with these circles. These chipboard pieces are really fun. I really enjoyed messing with them. I'm just kind of messing around here. I did not do any pre-planning with them. I'm just playing with placement at this point, hoping to get things where I want them and where they are visibly pleasing to the eye. I have quite a few things to choose from here, and this layout is very, very colorful when I'm done. These photos were taken of the top photo of me standing in front of the embroidery floss was taken in Hobby Lobby. My friend and I ran off to Hobby Lobby to see what kind of floss selection that they have, because we're losing our beloved Joann's, and that's where we both buy floss, so we need an alternative before we start looking for an online source. Turns out the Hobby Lobby here locally that we went to had a lot of great floss choices. Looks like they may have picked up the slack where Joann's left, so that made me very happy that I would be able to continue to get floss easily locally without having to order it, because sometimes you run out of a color and you need it, and then if you have to order it online, you have to wait for it to come in. Not fun. It's also not incredibly cheap. I did some price checking at a Cherry on Top, and you can definitely get floss from a Cherry on Top, but it's almost double the price what I pay locally. So unless it's a color that my local store doesn't have or hasn't had for a while, I probably won't be ordering it from a Cherry on Top because it was quite expensive. Ditto with Amazon, because I looked both places. Now I hear that embroidery.com also does it, but I tried to order from them, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago, and the payment wouldn't go through, and there was nothing wrong with my accounts because I just used them for something else. But anyway, let's get back to this. Now I'm just kind of on a roll here. I'm going to move that little blue frame there. And if you noticed, I did stick some stuff underneath the photos. They were like the insides of some of the frames that I used that weren't necessarily an actual frame itself. It was just kind of like the piece that separated the two frames. And so I used those and stuck those underneath my photo. And I think I grab a couple of other pieces here shortly to do the same thing with. I'm really trying to make sure I pick up and use all of the little bits and pieces that I pulled from the ephemera pack. I don't think I end up using the tab at all. I just kind of set it aside. And I'm pretty happy with placement here, so we're going to go ahead and glue down. Okay, I got this layout completely finished. I am quite happy with the way that this turned out. As you saw, I kind of went a little bit rogue on this layout. I did take inspiration from her grid of circles, and I used this cut file and the chipboard circles from my April Hip kit to create her grid. And then from there, it kind of went sideways, and I didn't cut my photos down into circles. I have less photos on my layout than she does because I chose to do more embellishing. And I couldn't pass up the moment to stitch on a layout when we're talking about a layout about me and embroidery floss. If I didn't say before, this is a picture of me at Hobby Lobby with a friend. And we were scouting Hobby Lobby to see what kind of embroidery floss stock they had, because we've lost our beloved Joann's, and that's where most of us bought our embroidery floss. And we were quite happy to see that Hobby Lobby has upped their game, and they've got a lot of the floss that we like to use. That day I came home with, I think 150 skeins or something like that. It's this pile here, and I had put them into colors together. What I do is I buy 3 to 4 skeins of the same color. I wrap one skein and I put it in this box, and then on the shelf behind me, I have a calyx directly behind me. I have a black photo box full of the extra skeins. Actually, there's 2, and I technically need a third because they're both very full at this point. But that's how I keep my stash. And the ones in the photo box are in Ziploc bags by color. They're not just hanging out there loose so that I have to dig through them every time I want another color. And then when I run out, like when I pick up my last of the 3 skeins of that color and put it into onto a floss holder into the little box, I will add that number to my phone. I have a little list on my phone where I keep the numbers that I need, and the next time I'm out, I'll get some more. So that's it. That's a little bit about me and my organization of floss. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. Remember, in that description box below, there is a playlist for this week's Scraplift Crafternoon. There are 11 of us on the team now, and anybody who's participating this week will be in that playlist, and I hope that you will grab yourself a cup of coffee or a beverage of choice, sit back and watch the entire playlist and see what everybody else does with the same layout. It's kind of fun to see what we all do, how we all deviate, the differences that we see when we look at a layout. This is one of my favorite hops, and it is quite fun. I hope that you have a great Sunday. Bye.